In Towards 2000, Raymond Williams analyzes the shifts in economic, social, and cultural landscapes as the world approached the end of the 20th century. Written during a period marked by significant technological, political, and ideological transitions, the book offers a critique of late capitalism and its impact on everyday life, as well as a call for alternative ways of structuring society. Williams examines the major trends of globalization, the commodification of culture, and the rise of information technology, exploring their implications on individual agency and collective social life. He offers a vision for change that aligns with democratic socialism, advocating for a society where human well-being and social equality take precedence over profit and market forces. Williams begins by discussing the concept of Plan X as a metaphor for the dominant logic of the late capitalist world. In this framework, market logic and financial interests drive the structure and organization of society, often at the expense of the public good. Williams argues that this approach to governance prioritizes efficiency, profitability, and productivity, which reshapes social relationships and reduces individuals to economic units. This mode of thinking permeates not only economic policies, but also cultural practices, where values such as community, solidarity, and collective well-being are marginalized. Williams sees this as a form of social control, as economic and political powers increasingly dictate the terms of life, narrowing the possibilities for genuine democracy and individual autonomy. A central theme in Towards 2000 is Williams's critique of consumer culture. He argues that late capitalism intensifies consumerism, turning individuals into passive consumers rather than active participants in shaping society. This consumer-oriented culture encourages people to identify more with the products they buy than with their roles as citizens or members of a community. Williams believes this culture of consumption creates a sense of superficial satisfaction while obscuring deeper social inequalities and economic exploitation. In his view, the emphasis on consumer goods and lifestyle choices serves as a distraction from the systemic issues that underpin economic and social injustices. Williams also examines the impact of new information and communication technologies, particularly the growing influence of computers and digital networks. He acknowledges that these technologies hold transformative potential for society, but he is wary of their use within the capitalist system, where they are often leveraged to increase productivity and profits, rather than improve human well-being. Williams raises concerns about how these technologies are being used to control and monitor individuals, transforming workplaces and creating new forms of social alienation. Rather than liberating people, he argues, technology is frequently deployed to enforce discipline and increase corporate efficiency. He warns that without a change in the underlying social and economic structures, technology will continue to serve the interests of capital rather than the needs of society. In discussing the media, Williams critiques its role in shaping public opinion and reinforcing dominant ideologies. He argues that media organizations, driven by profit motives and often controlled by a small number of corporations, play a significant role in shaping societal values and norms. By focusing on sensationalism and entertainment, The media diverts attention from critical social issues and promotes a culture of passive consumption. Williams is concerned that this media landscape limits critical thinking and discourages meaningful public discourse, as people are often presented with a narrow range of perspectives that align with the interests of those in power. He advocates for a media system that prioritizes public service and democratic engagement, providing diverse perspectives that encourage informed debate and active citizenship. Williams's analysis also addresses the concept of globalization, which he sees as a double-edged sword. On one hand, globalization brings increased interconnectedness and the potential for cross-cultural exchange. On the other, it spreads the values of Western capitalism worldwide, often at the expense of local cultures and traditions. He is critical of how globalization tends to homogenize cultures, leading to the loss of cultural diversity and the imposition of capitalist values on societies that have historically held different worldviews. Williams argues that globalization, as practiced within the capitalist framework, serves the interests of multinational corporations and economic elites, rather than fostering mutual understanding or equitable development. He calls for an alternative form of globalization that respects cultural diversity and promotes social and economic justice. A significant aspect of Williams's argument in Towards 2000 is his call for democratic socialism as a response to the crises of late capitalism. He envisions a society where economic decisions are made democratically, with the aim of meeting human needs, rather than maximizing profits. This model would prioritize social welfare, environmental sustainability, and economic equality. Williams believes that democratic socialism offers a way to overcome the limitations of capitalism by placing the economy under public control and aligning it with social goals. He advocates for policies that would redistribute wealth, ensure workers' rights, and create more participatory forms of governance. For Williams, democratic socialism represents a hopeful alternative that could address the social and environmental challenges facing the modern world. Education is another area of focus in Towards 2000, where Williams emphasizes its role in fostering critical thinking and democratic engagement. He argues that education should go beyond training individuals for the job market, instead equipping them with the skills to question and transform their social reality. Williams sees education as a tool for empowerment, enabling people to challenge dominant ideologies and participate actively in society. He is critical of the way education is often co-opted by capitalist interests, with schools and universities increasingly focused on producing skilled workers rather than informed citizens. Williams calls for an educational system that emphasizes creativity, critical inquiry, and a commitment to social justice. In Towards 2000, Williams also highlights the importance of cultural democracy, which he defines as the right of all people to participate in the creation and shaping of culture. He is critical of how culture under capitalism becomes commodified and controlled by a small elite, reducing cultural production to a marketable commodity rather than a form of expression and social engagement. Williams believes that cultural democracy is essential for a healthy society, as it allows people to express their identities, values, and experiences. He calls for a cultural landscape that is inclusive and participatory, where individuals have the freedom to create and engage with culture on their own terms. Williams's analysis of class structures and power dynamics also features prominently in Towards 2000. He argues that class inequalities are perpetuated through economic policies, cultural norms, and political institutions that prioritize the interests of the wealthy. Williams critiques the idea of a classless society, promoted by proponents of capitalism, arguing that economic disparities continue to define social relations. He is particularly concerned with how these inequalities impact access to resources, education, and opportunities, limiting social mobility and reinforcing existing hierarchies. For Williams, addressing these class-based inequalities is essential to creating a more just and democratic society. Williams concludes Towards 2000 with a call for active social change. He urges individuals to resist passive acceptance of the status quo and instead work towards building a society based on democratic principles and social equality. He emphasizes the importance of collective action, arguing that meaningful change can only come from a shared commitment to social and economic justice. Williams encourages readers to question the assumptions and values that underpin capitalist society and to envision alternative ways of organizing life. He believes that a more equitable and sustainable future is possible, but only if individuals are willing to engage in the difficult work of challenging existing structures and imagining new possibilities.